Hello, everybody. Matt from Just Stack It here. And I have some things laid out on the table here in front of us. I'm just gonna, show some of these off while we talk about what I feel to be a mildly concerning topic. So if the GoPro in this case does not focus very well, I apologize, but I assure you I'm only going to take a few minutes of your time. I have a lot of things that I do currently to try to guard against, financial instability. One of those being real estate. Now, I recently was doing a remodel and working with a contractor on my main property that I have, and as with anything, that gets very expensive. And an interesting thing happened to me a couple of times, and I thought it concerning. So I paid cash because, as with most places and people, as we all know, you get a slight discount when paying cash for things, whether that be the 3% credit card fee or 3.5% in some cases. That's now getting pushed on to us as consumers, whether it be that or an actual discount, on the price that you were going to be charged. However slight it may be, there's a discount usually for paying cash. Now, what happened here was I was going to my bank, one of my banks, my main bank, to get money to pay the contractor in rounds. I didn't give it all to him at once. We did it in a couple different groups, a few different bids, and then went through each one. Now, so these were sizable amounts. 6,000 to, I'd say, maybe 8,000 or 9,000, somewhere in there, and there were multiple ones. Now, my bank has a large withdrawal limit of $10,000. So if you are attempting to withdraw more than 10,000, you need to call ahead. You got to schedule it. They got to get extra money in to make sure that they have money for everyone else, and that's understandable. But in this case, all of the times that I went in to get money, cash, to pay my contractor, it caught them by surprise. So much so that the bank manager had to get involved and verify that they could give me that amount of cash, which added to my confusion, because I, restated, the account terms. Like, I thought it was $10,000 for the, the call ahead limit, and to schedule a withdrawal that large. I'm below that. Did something change? To which they said, no, we just don't have a lot of money right now. Now, the first time this happened, I chalked it up. Okay, maybe I caught him on an off day. A few of us came in and did similar things, whatever. And then some weeks later, the second one happened, to almost the exact same result. Shock, questioning, verifying, counting, checking, and then finally giving me my money. And then the third time, it happened as well. Now, that seems odd to me and very unusual. Granted, I don't make those kinds of withdrawals regularly, but it's in their account terms. They should be able to fulfill that for anyone that they have accounts with that have that much money. You have the right to withdraw that amount of money whenever, with essentially no notice, or you're supposed to. And then something else happened that I'm still not 100% sure on this one if they just don't like dealing with us coin hunters or not. But one of my other banks, I went in and I wanted to trade a brand new box of pennies for another box of pennies, hopefully not a brand new box. Uh, and the woman said she couldn't do it. And I said, well, okay, well, how many can you give me? You know, I'm giving them penny for penny. And she said they didn't even have a box of pennies. Now, in my town, it's what I would consider to be a moderately sized town. It's big enough that we have everything we need. You don't have to go anywhere else. There are multiple banks. This bank is physically the largest, whether or not, you know, financially they're the largest. I'll just say physically they're the largest. I see the most people coming and going. You know, you can extrapolate from that. And I'm not 100% sure if she just didn't want to deal with it, but she refused to even exchange any of my pennies for other pennies, claiming that they didn't even have a box of $25 on hand. Which, you know, I kind of questioned. I tried to be respectful, and then, you know, I quickly gave up. But it was very concerning to me that they said they didn't even have a whole box of pennies. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. One of the largest banks in my area doesn't have a box of pennies. How is that even possible? So what did I do? I deposited the pennies that I had. I gave them to them as a deposit because I said, obviously, you need these more than I do. But it's kind of concerning. Kind of wondering, the nail in the coffin might be these digital currencies that come through. And I'm not one of these, oh, they're going to phase out the cash, but it definitely seems to be pointing in that direction. Who knows, you know, what that's going to look like in another 10 years or so, but think about your credit card, or, well, your debit card, I guess I should say more specifically. How often, I mean, us as stackers, we see our physical money, and I'm not talking about silver, I'm talking about the cash. We see it a little more often than most. But I know some people that just don't ever have cash. They do digital payments, they have their card, they got their Venmo, their Cash App, their Zelle, and all of these other payment systems, PayPal, and that's how they get around. They don't have change. They don't have bills. They can't think of a reason why they would specifically need cash. If you look next time you're at the bank, look around. There's not a lot of young 20 somethings coming in the bank for anything. There's a lot of talk that they will be in the next few years, now that we've proven how much is needed with COVID, which is a lot less than maybe we thought. Some banks are talking about removing a lot of the physical locations and going to strictly online banking, or having like regional banks where you would have to drive a half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever, to get to a local bank if you needed to do some in-person banking, to, you know, cut costs and make them more efficient. But I think COVID in the banking world showed us, you know, how much people really weren't that inconvenienced by not having banks open. You could still get stuff from the ATMs. In most cases, they were running empty there for quite a while. And then we had the coin shortage that I still think was partially fabricated, but, you know, that's a topic for another video. But what are your thoughts on banks? Have you seen anything odd like that recently, where they didn't seem to have the money to give you? It's not bank run territory per se, but if they're already stressed on their currency amounts that they have on hand, and then a little too much demand came in, that could be quite concerning if banks all of a sudden can't fulfill withdrawal slips for, regular transactions. That would be concerning. And then how long would that last? Would there be a cascade effect? Would then, people withdraw more and that cause a run on the banks? I guess only time will tell, but it seemed very concerning to me, not to be able to just easily withdraw my money, to basically have to get approval to get what I already know is mine out of somewhere. And that's what a lot of people saw during COVID was, those of us that have assets on hand didn't really stress much. But some people, when the ATMs and things were running out of money, were stressing out and didn't have cash reserves. And some people don't because they don't have the means. But the people that do see what a huge problem that is in their financial security. To have the assets but to not have access to them is essentially not having them at all. So just some food for thought, some strange things for the record for those that are still listening. This was summer, so we're talking July, August of this year, 2022. So if anyone has any similar experiences, share those in the comments. I always love hearing from everybody. I thank you all for your time and attention, and appreciate all the comments in the and the conversation in the comments section below. I